Assalamu alaikum. In today's video, we are looking at the one of the brilliant game of Garry Kasparov, which he played against Veselin Topalov. Veselin is the Bulgarian grandmaster and he became the world chess champion in 2005. But this game was played in 1999, and in this game Garry was playing as a white, so he started the game with the e4, now d6, guarding this d5 square, and the rule is simple. If your opponent does not go for the center, then you should go for the center. That's why he played d4. Now knight to f6, attacking this e4 pawn, and in this position Garry played knight to c3, defending this e4 pawn. Now g6, preparing this bishop to g7, and Garry played bishop to e3. Bishop to g7, now queen to d2. Queen to d2 is a very simple yet very powerful move, because with the queen to d2, Garry Kasparov is making this dangerous battery on this beautiful diagonal. And later he can also play this bishop to h6, attacking this bishop on the g7, and then black would have only one move, which would be bishop captures on h6. And after queen captures on h6, this queen would be stopping his opponent from doing castling on the king side. Well, black in this position played a c6, preparing this b5, a5, and then a4, making the pyramid of these three pawns. Well, Garry did the same, and in this position he played f3, preparing this g4, and maybe in the future g5 move, attacking this knight. Black goes with the plan, he played b5, and in this position Garry played knight g to e2. Well, this move looks awkward because this knight is stopping this bishop from developing, but if we go back and look at this position closely, this bishop does not have any future on this d3 square. That's why Garry in this position played knight g to e2, and black in this position played knight b to d7. Now bishop to h6, finally attacking the bishop. Now bishop captures on h6, queen captures on h6, and this queen is now stopping his opponent from doing castling on the king side. So black played bishop to b7, developing his bishop, and now a3. Black played e5, attacking the center, but Garry first did castling on the queen side, and black played queen to e7, also preparing for doing castling on the queen side. Garry first saved his king with the king to b1, and black in this position played a6. Now knight to c1, preparing this knight to b3, and then maybe knight to a5, and in the future he can also play this knight to c5. Black did castling on the queen side, and now knight to b3, going with the plan. And black finally opened the center with the e captures on d4. And now Garry has two options to capture this pawn. The first one is knight captures on d4, and the second is rook captures on d4. So now stop the video and try to find which move is best for Garry Kasparov. Well, if you're thinking about knight captures on d4, according to the computer, it's the best move in this position, but this knight have many more duties on this a5 or c5 square. That's why Garry in this position played rook captures on d4, and black played c5, attacking the rook, and rook goes to d1. So again the question rises, why did he play rook to d4? Because black attacked it, and now this rook is again on this d1 square. Well, the lesson is this rook can now go back to his square, but this pawn now cannot go to this c6 square. And that's why this pawn move created one of the biggest weaknesses of the black game, which is this d5 square. And that was the reason why in the first place Garry played this rook captures on d4. So black continued this game with the knight to b6, g3, preparing this bishop to h6 check, and that's why black in this position played king to b8. And from this position Garry started attack. He played knight to a5, straight away attacking this bishop on the b7 square, because it looks like that this bishop is the first defender of this king, and that's why black didn't exchange this bishop. He played bishop to a8, and Garry played bishop to h6. Now d5, attacking this e4 pawn, but this move opened this diagonal for the queen. That's why Garry in this position played queen to f4 check. Now king to a7, and Garry finally completed his opening with the rook h to e1, developing his all minor pieces. So black advanced his pawn one more step with the d4, attacking this knight on this c3 square. And Garry saved this knight with the style by playing this knight to d5, which again looks like an awkward move because this d5 square is guarded by these two knights. This square is also guarded by this rook and this bishop. So the question is, why did he play this knight to d5 move? The reason is quite simple, because after knight b captures on d5, e captures on d5. This file is now open for the Garry Kasparov, and this rook on the e1 square is also attacking this queen on the e7 square. And that's one of the lessons that we should learn from this game. When one piece moves, it opens lines for other pieces, and that's what happened in this position. So black played queen to d6, offering the queen exchange, and in this position Garry Kasparov sacrificed his first piece of the game with the rook captures on d4, giving away his full rook. Well, now black has two options. The first one is accepting the rook, and the second option is queen captures on f4. And if in this position you play queen captures on f4, then it's simple: rook captures on f4, knight captures on d5, and after rook captures on f7, this position is just winning for Garry Kasparov because of this weak king. Well, that's the reason why in this position black played c captures on d4, accepting the sacrifice. But Garry didn't stop at this position. He made another sacrifice with the rook to e7 check. And that's the first brilliant move of this game. So again, if you want to find out, stop the video and try to find why this is the brilliant move of this game. Well, the reason is quite simple. If you capture this rook with the queen captures on e7, then queen captures on d4 check. Now king to b8, queen to b6 check. And if in this position you play a queen to b7, then knight to c6 is just a checkmate. And if in this position you play this bishop to b7, then knight to c6 check, attacking the king and attacking the queen. There's only one move for the black, which is king to a8, but now queen to a7 is a checkmate. And that was the reason why did Garry Kasparov sacrifice his rook on the e7 square. And we see that it's not possible for the black to capture it. That's why in this position he played king to b6. And at this move, Garry Kasparov sacrificed his third piece of the game with the queen captures on d4, giving away his knight. And at this time, black accepts the sacrifice with the king captures on a5 and now b4 check. Black king has only one move, which is king to a4, and again the question rises, why did he sacrifices his knight? Well, again it's simple. He wants to trap his opponent king, and now this king cannot escape from the beautiful cage which is created by these two powerful pawns. So now Garry Kasparov in this position played queen to c3, guarding this a3 pawn and also threatening a checkmate with the queen to b3. That's why black in this position played queen captures on d5, guarding this b3 square. So white played rook to a7, again threatening a checkmate with the rook captures on a6. That's why black again saved it with the bishop to b7. But it's simple, rook captures on b7, and remember, you cannot capture this rook with the queen because of queen to b3 checkmate. That's why in this position black didn't capture the rook. In this position he played queen to c4, offering the queen exchange because it will release some pressure from the black. But Garry didn't accept the exchange. In this position he played queen captures on f6. So now black played king captures on a3. It's simple, he wants to escape from this cage. That's why he played king captures on a3. So now Garry played queen captures on a6 check. Now king captures on b4, and in this position Garry played another great move, which is c3 check. Now again black has two options. The first one is capturing it with the queen and capturing it with the king. Well, in this position black captured it with the king. That's why first we're gonna look at queen captures on c3. Garry can play queen captures on b5 check. So now king to a3, rook to a7 check, and black has only one move, queen to a5, but after rook captures on a5, this is a checkmate. Well, that's the reason why in this position he didn't capture this pawn with the queen. Well, he captured it with the king captures on c3, but that still does not save the game because now Garry played queen to a1 check. And again, if in this position you play king to b4, then king to b2 check, and after queen to b3, rook captures on b5 is just winning because now king captures on b5, and after queen captures on b3 check, this position is just totally winning for the Garry. Well, that's the reason why after queen to a1 check, black in this position played king to d2. But now queen to b2 check, king to d1, and in this position Garry played bishop to f1, another brilliant sacrifice of the game. And yes, that's simple. If that sacrifice is made by the Garry Kasparov, then capturing it is not the good plan for you. and it applies in this position because if you capture it with the queen captures on f1, then we can play queen to c2 check. Black has only one move, king to e1, but now rook to e7 check. Again black has only one move, which is queen to e2, but now queen captures on e2 is a checkmate. That's why in this position black didn't capture the bishop. In this position black played rook to d2 attacking the queen. Black is thinking that if you're attacking my queen, then I am attacking your queen. But in this position Garry found another brilliant move. So again stop the video and try to find the brilliant move for the white. And if you are thinking about rook to d7, then you are totally right. This is the third brilliant move of this game. And the reason is because this rook is now pinning this rook, which means you cannot capture this queen with this rook. And if you are thinking about queen captures on f1, then queen captures on d2 is a checkmate. That's why in this position black is forced to play rook captures on d7, then bishop captures on c4, pawn captures on c4, and after queen captures on h8, this position is just totally winning for the Garry Kasparov. And now it's just a matter of time. Black played rook to d3 attacking this f3 pawn. Garry saved it with the queen to a8. So now black in this position played c3, queen to a4 check, king goes to e1, and now f4. Black played f5, totally locking the position, and white in this position played king to c1, physically stopping this pawn from promoting. Black played rook to d2, and Garry Kasparov delivered the final blow with the style with the queen to a7, and in this position black resigned. And the reason is Garry Kasparov is attacking your pawn base, which is pawn on the h7 square. Garry Kasparov is also threatening this queen to g1 check, and he is also threatening this queen to e3 check, and after king moves he would capture this pawn on the c3 square. And all of these positions are totally winning for the Garry Kasparov, and that's the reason why black resigned in this game. So I hope you like this brilliant game of Garry Kasparov, and if you like it, please like this video, subscribe to this channel to get more amazing and inspiring content.